The Dominion had ruled the galaxy for 10,000 years. 17 species worked together under one government. They had conquered hundreds of worlds. They had crushed every enemy. They believed nothing could challenge them. High Arbiter Voss sat on his throne in the Great Council Chamber. Around him, representatives from all 17 species waited for his words. Voss was tall and thin, with gray skin and 4 eyes that saw everything. He had led the Dominion for 300 years. In all that time, no one had dared to question his power. A small officer walked into the chamber. He carried a datapad in his shaking hands. He bowed low before the High Arbiter. "Speak," Voss commanded. "My lord, our survey ships have found something. A new species. They call themselves humans." The chamber fell silent for a moment. Then laughter filled the room. A new species was always funny to the Dominion. New species were weak. New species were primitive. New species always surrendered. "Tell me about these humans," Voss said. He was not laughing. He never laughed. The officer looked at his datapad. They live on a small planet called Earth. They have 12 colony worlds. Their technology is very primitive. They still use chemical rockets. Their weapons are basic. They have no shields on their ships. More laughter came from the council members. Fleet Marshal Dren, the commander of all Dominion military forces, shook his large head. "Chemical rockets? They are like children playing with toys." "How many ships do they have?" Voss asked. "Perhaps 200 warships, my lord. Nothing compared to our fleets." Voss nodded slowly. His 4 eyes looked at the star map that appeared above them. A small section of space glowed blue. Human space. It was tiny compared to the Dominion's vast territory. "We will send them a message," Voss decided. "They will surrender their worlds and serve us. This is the way of things." Ambassador Lyra stood from her seat. She was different from the others. Her species had joined the Dominion peacefully, long ago. She had a gift for understanding other beings. "High Arbiter," she said carefully, "perhaps we should learn more about these humans first. We know nothing about them. What is there to know?" Warlord Grath interrupted. He was massive, covered in thick armor plates that grew from his own skin. He had conquered 30 worlds for the Dominion. "They are primitives. They will kneel or they will die. It is simple." Lyra looked at Grath with worry in her eyes. "I have read their transmissions. They have a strange history. They fight each other constantly. Their whole existence has been war. Then they are savages." Grath laughed. "Even better. Savages break easily." Voss raised his hand. The discussion was over. "Send the message. They have 30 cycles to surrender everything. If they refuse, Grath will cleanse their space." Grath smiled. It was an ugly thing to see. On Earth, the message arrived 3 days later. Admiral Unipark stood in the command center of United Earth Command. She was 52 years old. Her black hair was turning gray. Her eyes were cold and hard, shaped by 30 years of military service. She watched the alien appear on the screen. It was Voss himself, speaking to humanity like they were insects. "You are now subjects of the Dominion," the message said. "Surrender your weapons. Surrender your ships. Surrender your worlds. Serve us, and you may live. Refuse, and we will destroy every human in existence. You have 30 cycles." The message ended. Silence filled the room. Officers looked at each other with fear in their eyes. They had always known aliens existed. They had hoped to meet them peacefully someday. Instead, they had met conquerors. "What do we do?" Someone whispered. Admiral Park did not answer immediately. She stood very still, staring at the empty screen. Then she turned to face her officers. "Contact every fleet. Wake every soldier. Call back every ship. Her voice was quiet, but everyone heard every word. We are going to war. Admiral, a young officer said. Their technology is far beyond ours. We cannot win. Park looked at him. Something dangerous burned in her eyes. Cannot win? We have survived ice ages. We have survived plagues. We have survived nuclear weapons. We have survived everything this universe has thrown at us for 200,000 years. She walked toward the door. We do not know how to lose. The United Earth Assembly met the next day. Leaders from every nation on Earth and every colony gathered to hear Admiral Park speak. The great hall was full. The air was thick with fear and tension. Park stood at the podium. Behind her, the alien message played again. When it finished, she faced the assembly. They give us a choice, she said. Slavery or death. But I say there is a third option. We fight. We make them bleed for every inch of our space. We make them pay a price so high that they will never forget. We teach them that humans are not prey. A voice called out from the crowd. They have thousands of ships. We have hundreds. How can we fight? We fight differently, Park answered. They expect us to line up and face them like soldiers. We will not. We will strike from shadows. We will hit them where they do not expect. We will make them afraid of the dark. Captain Minho Lee sat in the front row. He was young for a captain, only 35. But he had a mind for tactics that impressed even the oldest admirals. He had been working on battle plans since the message arrived. I have a strategy, he said, standing up. It is not honorable. It is not fair. It will make us look like monsters. He paused. But it will work. Park nodded. Show us. Lee walked to the display screen. Maps appeared. Diagrams of weapons. Plans for traps and ambush. The assembly watched in silence. Some faces showed shock. Some showed horror. The plan was brutal. It was cruel. It broke every rule of civilized warfare. This is not how soldiers fight, an old general said when Lee finished. You are right, Lee agreed. Soldiers fight with honor. Soldiers follow rules. Soldiers lose to superior enemies. He looked around the room. We are not going to be soldiers anymore. We are going to be something else. Something they have never seen. Something they will learn to fear. Admiral Park stepped forward again. Send our response to the Dominion. The message was simple. Park looked into the camera with eyes like ice. We do not kneel. We do not surrender. We do not serve. Come to our space if you dare. But know this, every ship you send will burn. Every soldier you send will die. We are humanity, and we are not afraid of you. Far away, in the Dominion Council chamber, Voss watched the message. His 4 eyes narrowed. No species had ever refused the Dominion. No species had ever threatened them back. Interesting, he said quietly. Graf laughed loudly. Let me go, High Arbiter. I will crush these insects myself. 300 ships. That is all I need. 300 ships for 200? Dren asked. Is that not excessive? I want to leave nothing alive, Graf said. I want to make an example. Voss nodded. Go. Show the galaxy what happens to those who defy us. As Graf left to prepare his fleet, Ambassador Lyra remained seated. She had watched the human woman speak. She had seen something in those cold eyes. Something the others had not noticed. She had seen no fear at all. That worried her more than anything. In the dark of space, human ships began to move. They scattered into asteroid fields. They hid in gas clouds. They powered down and drifted like dead rocks. And in the silence between stars, they waited. Captain Minho Lee stood on the bridge of his ship. Around him, thousands of small objects floated in the void. They looked like debris. They looked like nothing important. They were mines. Thousands of them. Each one carrying enough explosive power to crack a moon. They think we are weak, Lee said to his crew. They think we are primitive. Let them think that. Let them come. He looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there, an alien fleet was coming to destroy his home. They thought it would be easy. They were very, very wrong. The trap was set. The darkness waited. And humanity prepared to teach the galaxy a lesson it would never forget. Warlord Grath stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Destroyer of Worlds. 300 warships followed behind him. Each ship was 5 times larger than any human vessel. Each one carried weapons that could turn cities to ash in seconds. He watched human space grow closer on his screens. It was quiet. Too quiet. No defense fleets came to meet him. No warning shots were fired. Just empty darkness. Where are they? Grath growled. His sensor officer checked the readings. No ships detected, Warlord. No energy signatures. Nothing. Grath smiled. They have accepted their fate. They know they cannot stop us. He turned to his communications officer. Open a channel to all ships. We attack the nearest colony first. New Bizon. I want it burning within the hour. The fleet moved forward. They passed through an asteroid field without worry. Their shields could stop any rock. Their armor could take any hit. They were unstoppable. They were wrong. Captain Minho Lee watched from his hidden ship, parked inside a hollowed asteroid. His screen showed the enemy fleet moving past. So many ships. So much firepower. Any normal enemy would run. Lee pressed a button. All around the Dominion fleet, the darkness came alive. What looked like space debris suddenly activated. Thousands of mines, dormant for weeks, powered up in the same moment. Red lights blinked. Timers counted down. 3, 2, 1. The first explosion was beautiful and terrible. Antimatter touched matter and created pure destruction. One mine killed a Dominion cruiser instantly. Then another mine exploded. And another. And another. In 3 seconds, 47 Dominion ships died. They did not even have time to scream. Grath was thrown from his feet as his flagship shook. Alarms screamed. Officers shouted in panic. On the main screen, he watched his ships explode like fireworks. What is happening? He roared. Mines, Warlord! Thousands of them. They were hidden in the debris. Destroy them. Grath ordered. Shoot them down. But there were too many. The mines were small and fast. They moved toward Dominion ships like hungry animals. Every time one was destroyed, 2 more appeared. The explosions continued. Then the human ships came. They rose from asteroid fields like ghosts. They were small and fast, much faster than Dominion vessels. They fired their weapons and vanished back into the rocks before anyone could shoot back. Hit and run. Hit and run. Again and again. Lieutenant Jisoo Kang flew her fighter through the chaos. She was 26 years old, the youngest pilot to ever earn the rank of ace. Her hands were steady on the controls. Her eyes watched for targets. Go squadron, follow me, she called to her team. Target their engine sections. Make them slow. Make them easy. Her squadron dove toward a Dominion destroyer. They were like wasps attacking a bear. Small, fast, deadly. Their missiles found weak points in the alien armor. The destroyer's engines exploded. It drifted, helpless. One down, Jisoo said. Find the next. Grath watched his fleet fall apart. Half his ships were damaged. Dozens were destroyed. And he still could not find the main human fleet to fight. "Where are they?" he screamed. "Show yourselves, cowards." His answer came from inside his own ship. Commander Taiho Kim moved through the dark hallways of the Destroyer of Worlds. His team of 12 soldiers followed silently. They had entered through a service hatch, sneaking aboard while the battle raged outside. Nobody had noticed them. Taiho was 40 years old. He had been a soldier his whole adult life. He had trained for operations like this. Quiet, deadly, leave no witnesses. Plant charges at reactor points Alpha, Gamma, and Epsilon, he whispered into his radio. Set timers for 10 minutes. His team split up. They moved like shadows. Dominion soldiers walked past them without seeing. The aliens were tall and strong, but they were not prepared for enemies inside their ship. They did not know how to fight in the dark. Taiho found his target, the main computer room. 2 guards stood outside. He killed them both before they could make a sound. His knife was silent. His movements were faster than thought. He planted his charges and moved on. Behind him, the timer counted down. On the bridge, Grath finally got an answer from his sensors. "Warlord, we are detecting humans inside the ship." "Inside?" Grath could not understand. "How?" "Unknown Warlord. They are moving toward the reactor." Grath's eyes went wide. "Stop them. All guards to the reactor section now." It was too late. The charges exploded at the same moment. The Destroyer of Worlds shuddered. Power failed across half the ship. The mighty flagship went dark. Taiho and his team reached their escape ship. They launched into space just as the flagship began to drift. Their mission was complete. "Ghost team extraction successful," Taiho reported. "Enemy flagship disabled." Grath stood in the darkness of his dead bridge. Emergency lights flickered. His crew ran around in panic. For the first time in his long life, he did not know what to do. He made a decision that would haunt him forever. "All ships, pull back from the asteroid field. Regroup in open space." He paused. Anger filled his heart. "And begin bombardment of the human colony. If we cannot catch their ships, we will destroy their people." 150 Dominion ships turned their weapons toward New Bizen. The planet was beautiful, with blue oceans and green lands. 800,000 humans lived there. Farmers, teachers, children, families. The first plasma beams hit the surface. Cities burned. Mountains melted. Oceans boiled. In 1 hour, everything was gone. Every building, every tree, every person. 800,000 humans died screaming. Grath broadcast a message to all frequencies. "Look at what we have done. This is the price of defiance. Surrender now, and we will spare your other worlds. Fight us, and we will burn them all." He expected fear. He expected begging. He expected surrender. Instead, he got something else. Admiral Una Park appeared on his screen. Her face was calm. Too calm. Behind her, he could see the faces of officers. Some were crying. Some were shaking with rage. But Park was perfectly still. "You think destroying a colony will break us?" she asked quietly. "You think killing our people will make us afraid?" She pressed a button. A list appeared on screen. Names. Hundreds of thousands of names, scrolling endlessly. "These are the people you just murdered," Park said. "We will remember every single one. And for every human you kill, we will take 10,000 of yours." Grath laughed. "Empty threats. You cannot even face us in battle." "We just destroyed half your fleet without losing a single ship," Park replied. Her voice was ice. "We disabled your flagship with 12 soldiers. And now you hide in open space because you are afraid of our asteroid fields." She leaned closer to the camera. "We are just getting started." The transmission ended. Grath stared at the blank screen. Around him, his surviving ships waited for orders. They were still powerful, still dangerous. But something had changed. For the first time, his officers were not looking at him with respect. They were looking at him with doubt. "What are your orders, warlord?" his first officer asked. Grath thought about attacking again, but his fleet was damaged. His flagship was crippled, and somewhere in the darkness, human ships were waiting. "We return to Dominion space," he said finally. "We need repairs. We need reinforcements. We are retreating?" The first officer could not believe it. "Temporary withdrawal," Grath snapped. "We will return with more ships, more weapons. We will burn every human world to ash." But as his fleet limped away from human space, Grath could not shake a strange feeling. It sat in his chest like a cold stone. He had never felt it before. He did not even know its name. The feeling was fear. In the ruins of New Bizin, nothing moved. The planet was dead. But in orbit, a single human satellite had survived the attack. It recorded everything. It broadcast everything. Every human in existence saw what happened to New Bizin. Parents held their children close. Soldiers clenched their fists. Old people wept. And everywhere, the same words were spoken. Not words of surrender. Not words of fear. Words of rage. Commander Taiho Kim watched the recording on his ship. His face showed no emotion, but his hands shook with anger. "They want to make us afraid," he said to his team. "Instead, they made us hate." Lieutenant Jisoo Kang received the news in her cockpit. She had family on New Bizin, an aunt, cousins, children she had never met. They were all gone. She looked at her hands on the flight controls. They were steady. She was not crying. She was past crying. "For New Bizin," she whispered to herself. "I will make them pay." Admiral Park stood alone in her office. A picture of her daughter sat on her desk. Her daughter had lived on New Bizin. She had been a teacher. She had been kind and gentle and good. Now she was ash. Park picked up the picture and held it gently. For one moment, her cold mask cracked. A tear rolled down her cheek. Then she put the picture down. She straightened her uniform. She walked to the command center. The war was no longer about survival. It was about vengeance. And humanity had all the time in the universe. Behind Grath's retreating fleet, the darkness of human space seemed to grow darker, colder, more hungry. The Dominion had wanted to make an example of humanity. Instead, they had awakened something terrible. Something that would not stop until the galaxy learned to fear the name of Earth. The first lesson was complete. Many more were coming. 3 years passed. The war that was supposed to last weeks had become something much worse. High Arbiter Voss sat in his council chamber. He looked tired. For the first time in 300 years, he looked old. "Report," he ordered. Fleet Marshal Dren stood before him. The military commander who once laughed at humans was not laughing now. "We have committed 12 fleets to the war," Dren said. "Over 4,000 ships. We have conquered 3 human colony worlds. But the cost..." He stopped. He did not want to continue. "Speak," Voss demanded. "We have lost 2,000 ships. Nearly 1 million soldiers. And the humans have only grown stronger." Silence filled the chamber. 2,000 ships. For 3 small colonies. It was impossible. It was madness. "How?" Voss asked. "They are primitives. Their technology is nothing compared to ours." Dren shook his head. Their technology was primitive. Not anymore. They learn from every battle. They take our destroyed ships and study them. Every weapon we use, they copy and improve. Every tactic we try, they counter, then use new tactics. We have tried, High Arbiter, but they adapt faster than we can attack. And their soldiers. Dren's voice became quiet. Their soldiers are unlike anything we have ever faced. Grath, disgraced but still present in the council, laughed bitterly. Their soldiers? You are afraid of soft little creatures who cannot even survive their own planet's weather? That is exactly why I am afraid, Dren said. I have studied their history. Their planet is deadly. The weather can kill them. The animals can kill them. Even the plants can kill them. And they survived there for 200,000 years. They did not just survive, they conquered everything. He pressed a button. Images appeared above the council. Images from human history, wars, battles, destruction. They've been fighting each other since before they had fire. Dren continued. Every generation they find new ways to kill. They invented nuclear weapons and used them on their own cities. They created poisons that could kill their entire species and kept making more. This is what they do to each other. The council members watched in horror. They saw humans charging into impossible battles. They saw humans sacrificing themselves for their teams. They saw humans who would not stop fighting even when they were dying. They are insane, Warlord Grath said. But his voice had lost its confidence. No, Ambassador Lyra spoke from her seat. They are not insane. They are adapted. Every species in this galaxy evolved to cooperate. That is how we survived. We learned to work together and avoid conflict. Humans evolved differently. They evolved through competition, through war. They are not primitives who built ships. They are predators who built ships. The council was silent. They understood now. They had invited wolves into their home, expecting sheep. Far from the council chamber, Dr. Hana Choi worked in a secret laboratory on Earth. She was 38 years old, a brilliant scientist who specialized in studying alien life. For 3 years, she had examined captured Dominion technology and alien bodies. Today, she had finally found what she was looking for. Admiral Park, she called on the secure channel. I have something. Park appeared on screen within minutes. Report, Doctor. Hannah held up a small device. It glowed with soft light. Most Dominion species share a common biology. They evolved on similar planets with similar conditions. And they all have the same weakness. Explain. There is a specific frequency of radiation. When exposed to it, their neural systems shut down temporarily. They fall unconscious. Cannot move. Cannot think. Cannot fight. Hannah smiled, but it was not a happy smile. Humans are immune. Our brains evolved under Earth's unique magnetic field. The radiation does not affect us at all. Park understood immediately. You are telling me we can knock them out without killing them? Yes, or we can kill them while they sleep. The choice is ours. Park nodded slowly. How long until you can build a weapon? I already have. It is ready for testing. In the Dominion military headquarters, Fleet Marshal Dren was having a private meeting with Ambassador Lyra. They spoke quietly, away from the other council members. We cannot win this war, Dren said. I know this now. Every time we hurt them, they hurt us worse. Every time we take a world, we lose 10,000 soldiers. And they just keep coming. Lyra nodded. I tried to warn the council. They did not listen. What do you suggest? Peace, Lyra said simply. Withdraw from human space. Leave them alone. Accept that they are not a species we can conquer. Dren shook his head. Voss will never agree. Grath will call it weakness. The council will not accept peace. Then the council will lead us to destruction. Lyra's voice was sad. I have watched humanity for 3 years. They are not like us. They do not stop. They do not surrender. They do not forget. The destruction of New Bizon was supposed to break them. Instead, it made them stronger. Every human in the galaxy is united now. They have one purpose: to make us suffer. Dren was quiet for a long moment. Can we make them suffer enough to stop? No, Lyra said, because there is no limit to what they will endure. And there is no limit to what they will do in return. She was right. The human strike came 3 weeks later. A single ship, crewed by volunteers who knew they would not return home, slipped through Dominion defenses. They reached a major military station, a hub for 3 fleets, home to 3 million soldiers. The ship carried Dr. Choi's weapon. When it activated, every Dominion soldier on the station collapsed. 3 million beings fell unconscious in the same moment. Commander Taiho Kim led the boarding party. His ships arrived within hours. They found a station full of sleeping enemies. They could have killed them all. Every single one. They did not. Instead, they captured the station. They took every weapon, every ship, every piece of technology. Then they woke up the Dominion soldiers and sent them home on transport ships. The message was clear. We could have killed you all. We chose not to. Next time, we might choose differently. High Arbiter Voss received the news in shock. 3 fleets captured without a single shot fired. 3 million soldiers humiliated. And the humans had not killed anyone. Why? He demanded. Why did they not finish it? Lyra answered him. Because they want you to know that they showed mercy. They want you to remember that they could have destroyed everything. They want you to be afraid of what happens if they stop being merciful. Voss stared at her. For the first time, he saw something in the human strategy that he had missed before. They are not trying to defeat us, he said slowly. They are trying to terrify us. Yes, Lyra agreed. And it is working. On Earth, Admiral Park reviewed the reports from the captured station. Commander Taiho Kim stood before her, still covered in the dust of battle. You did well, Park said. The weapon works. We can use it again. Taiho nodded, but his face was troubled. Admiral, permission to speak freely? Granted. When we captured that station, we had a choice. Kill them or let them live. Today, we chose mercy. But I looked at my soldiers during that mission. Some of them wanted to kill everyone. They wanted revenge for New Bizon, for the colonies we lost, for the friends we buried. He paused. How long before we stopped choosing mercy? Park was silent. She understood his question. The war was changing humanity. Every battle, every death, every victory made them harder, colder, more willing to do terrible things. We fight this war to protect our people, she said finally. But we must never forget who we are. The moment we become worse than our enemies, we lose everything, even if we win. Taiho saluted. I will try to remember that, Admiral. He walked out. Park stood alone in her office. She looked at the star map showing the progress of the war. Human space was growing. Dominion space was shrinking. They were winning. But at what cost? Somewhere in the galaxy, Lieutenant Jisoo Kang flew another mission. She had killed more enemy ships than anyone could count. Each kill was dedicated to New Bizon, to her family, to the 800,000 who died. She never smiled anymore. She barely spoke to her team. She had become a weapon, sharp and cold. When she returned to base, a young pilot approached her. Lieutenant Kang? I just transferred here. I wanted to say you are a hero, an inspiration. Jisoo looked at him with empty eyes. I am not a hero. Heroes save people. I just kill things. She walked past him without another word. The war continued. The killing continued. And somewhere in the darkness between stars, humanity prepared its next lesson for the galaxy. The Dominion had created this war, but they no longer controlled it. The devils they had made were coming for them, and there was nowhere in the universe to hide. 5 years since the first battle. 5 years of blood and fire and death. The galaxy had changed forever. Human fleets now carried weapons that matched the Dominion's power. Human ships moved faster and hit harder than anything the aliens had faced before. And human soldiers had become legends of terror. Captain Minho Lee stood on the bridge of his new ship, the Silent Revenge. Behind him, a fleet of 40 vessels waited in the darkness. They were deep inside Dominion territory now, hunting. "Captain, sensors detect a convoy ahead. 20 transport ships. 10 military escorts." Minho studied the information. Transport ships meant supplies. Supplies meant the Dominion war effort could continue. That could not be allowed. "All ships, attack Patent Ghost. Hit the escorts first. Let nothing escape." The battle lasted 12 minutes. Human ships appeared from nowhere, struck with deadly accuracy, and vanished before the Dominion could respond. When it was over, all 30 enemy ships were dead or dying. Minho watched the wreckage drift in space. Once, this would have bothered him. Once, he would have felt something for the lives lost. Now he felt nothing. "Captain, we captured survivors. What are your orders?" "Give them a life pod. Send them toward Dominion space." He turned away from the screen. "Let them tell the others what happened here. Let them spread the fear." The Dominion soldiers who survived called him the Phantom. They said he appeared from nowhere and vanished like smoke. They said his ships made no sound. They said he had no mercy. They were right. In the Dominion Council chamber, High Arbiter Voss was facing a crisis. The war he had started was destroying everything. 3 more species were talking about leaving the Dominion. Military commanders were refusing to send ships to the front lines. "We must negotiate peace," Fleet Marshal Dren said. "We cannot win this war." Warlord Grath slammed his fist on the table. "Never. I will not surrender to those insects." "Then you will die fighting them," Dren replied coldly. "And you will take the rest of us with you." Voss raised his hand for silence. "There will be no peace. The Dominion does not surrender. We will send more fleets, more soldiers. We will crush humanity eventually." Ambassador Lyra shook her head. "Every fleet we send comes back smaller. Every soldier we lose makes them stronger. They capture our technology. They learn our secrets. They turn our own weapons against us. What would you have us do?" Voss demanded. "Accept that we made a mistake. Leave human space. Build defenses and pray they do not follow us home." Grath laughed. "Hide from primitives? I would rather die." "You may get your wish," Lyra said quietly. "They are coming. And this time, they are not just defending. They are hunting." She was right. The humans had changed their strategy. On the colony world of New Bizan rebuilt, reborn, stronger than before, Commander Taiho Kim stood before a memorial. The names of 800,000 dead were carved into black stone that stretched for miles. A young officer approached him. "Commander, your transport is ready." Taiho did not move. He read the names slowly. Some were soldiers. Most were not. Teachers, farmers, children, just people, living their lives until the Dominion came. "Do you know why I do this?" He asked the young officer. "Sir, every time I go on a mission, I come here first. I read the names. I remember why we fight." He turned to face the officer. "We fight because they came to our home and murdered our families. We fight because they gave us no choice. And we will keep fighting until they learn that humanity is not prey. His team was waiting. 12 soldiers, the best in the human military. They had fought together for 5 years. They had lost friends. They had done terrible things. But they had survived. Today we hit their shipyard, Taiho told them. Biggest target yet. High risk. Anyone want to stay behind? Nobody moved. Nobody spoke. They were ready. The mission was perfect. Taiho's team infiltrated the shipyard, planted their charges, and escaped before anyone knew they were there. When the explosions began, 30 new warships died before they were ever finished. But the real damage was the message. Nowhere is safe. We can reach you anywhere. We can destroy anything you build. Warlord Graf could not accept the failures any longer. He gathered his personal fleet, the last ships that still answered to him, and launched a final desperate attack. Not on a human colony. On Earth itself. If we destroy their homeworld, he told his captains, the war ends. They will have nothing left to fight for. His fleet was large. 100 ships, all loyal to him. They raced toward Earth, taking a hidden route through unexplored space. They would arrive before any human fleet could stop them. Admiral Una Park was waiting. She had predicted this attack. She knew Grath was desperate. She knew he would try something mad. So she kept half her fleet hidden in Earth's orbit, appearing as civilian ships. When Grath's fleet arrived, they found not a defenseless world, but a killing ground. Surprise, Park said quietly as her ships powered up their weapons. The battle was brutal. Grath fought like a trapped animal, all rage and fury. His ships were strong, his soldiers fierce. But Park was smarter. Her traps were better. Her strategy was perfect. One by one, Grath's ships fell. After 2 hours, only his flagship remained. Park did not destroy it. All ships, hold fire, she ordered. I am going aboard. Her officers protested. It was too dangerous. Grath was insane. He would kill her. Park ignored them. She took a shuttle to Grath's crippled flagship. She walked through its broken hallways alone. She found Grath on his ruined bridge, surrounded by the bodies of his crew. He was still alive. Bleeding, broken, but alive. You, he growled when he saw her. You are the one. The commander of the human fleet. Yes. Park stood before him, calm and cold. And you are the one who destroyed New Bizon, who murdered 800,000 of my people. She paused. Including my daughter. Grath tried to laugh, but blood came out instead. Your daughter? Good. I hope she screamed. Park's expression did not change. She drew her weapon, a simple human pistol, old and plain. She was a teacher, Park said. She taught children to read. She never hurt anyone in her life. She aimed at Grath's head. But I'm not my daughter. She fired. When Park returned to Earth, she ordered Grath's surviving crew to be released. She sent them back to the Dominion with a recording of what had happened. With her words, this is what happens to those who threaten our world. Remember it. Tell the others. And pray that we never have to remind you again. The Dominion watched the recording in horror. Grath, their greatest warrior, killed like an animal by a human woman. His mighty fleet destroyed. Earth untouched. More species began to leave the Dominion. They saw the future clearly now. The humans were coming, and nothing could stop them. But the war was not over yet. And humanity had one more choice to make. Dr. Hana Choi stood before the United Earth Assembly. Behind her, holographic images showed a weapon. A terrible weapon. The final weapon. Operation Ragnarok, she explained. A network of devices that can emit the neural disruption frequency across multiple star systems simultaneously. We could target every Dominion homeworld at the same time. Billions would fall unconscious. We could capture their governments. End the war in one day. How many would die? Someone asked. Hannah was quiet for a moment. If we only knock them unconscious. Perhaps millions from accidents, falling, crashes, fires. She paused. But if we choose to send soldiers to finish them while they sleep, billions could die. The assembly was silent. They could win the war forever. They could make sure no species ever threatened humanity again. All they had to do was commit genocide. Admiral Park sat in the front row, listening. The activation codes were already in her possession. The decision was hers to make. Lieutenant Jisoo Kang was not at the assembly. She was still flying missions, still killing enemies, still fighting for New Bizen, but something was different now. In her last battle, she had been chasing a damaged Dominion fighter. An easy kill. But when she got close, she saw through the enemy cockpit. The pilot was young, scared, crying, just like the children who died on New Bizen. Jisoo hesitated. For one moment, her finger froze on the trigger. Then the enemy pilot ejected, surrendered, chose life over death. Jisoo let him go. She watched his escape pod drift away. She did not know why she did it, but something inside her had shifted. Maybe she was still human after all. Admiral Park sat alone in her quarters that night. The activation codes glowed on her screen. One command and the war would end. One command and billions would die. She thought about her daughter, about New Bizen, about all the death and all the suffering. She thought about what humanity had become, and she made her choice. Admiral Una Park stood before every screen in the galaxy. Her message was broadcast on every frequency, to every world, to every species. The Dominion watched. The neutral species watched. Everyone watched. Behind her, images showed the Ragnarok weapon. Its power, its reach, its terrible potential. This is what we could do, Park said. Her voice was calm and cold, as always. With this weapon, we could end the war today. We could strike every Dominion homeworld at once. Billions would fall. Your governments would collapse. Your militaries would die in their sleep. She let the words sink in. Across the galaxy, leaders trembled. Soldiers prayed. Children hid behind their parents. We have this power, Park continued. We earned it. You gave us no choice but to create it. You came to our home. You murdered our people. You tried to make us slaves. Her eyes seemed to look directly at every viewer. And now we could destroy you forever. Silence. Perfect, terrible silence. Then Park did something unexpected. She pressed a button. The images of the weapon disappeared. But we will not. Confusion spread across the galaxy. This was not how war worked. When you had the power to destroy your enemy, you used it. That was the law of nature. That was the way things had always been. We are offering you terms, Park said. Complete withdrawal from human space. Recognition of human sovereignty over all our worlds. A guarantee of non-aggression that will last forever. She paused. Accept these terms, and the war ends. Refuse, and we will use everything we have. This is not a negotiation. This is mercy. We will not offer it again. The transmission ended. The galaxy held its breath. In the Dominion Council chamber, chaos erupted. High Arbiter Voss slammed his fist on the table. Lies, he shouted. They are bluffing. They do not have such a weapon. Fleet Marshal Dren shook his head. We thought they were bluffing when they said they would fight. We thought they were bluffing when they said they would follow us into our territory. They have never bluffed. Not once. We cannot surrender to primitives. Voss was almost screaming now. The Dominion has ruled for 10,000 years. We cannot fall to insects who only discovered fire a moment ago. Ambassador Lyra stood up. Her voice was quiet, but everyone heard her. The humans gave us a choice. They could destroy us, but they are choosing not to. That is not weakness. That is power. She looked at Voss with cold eyes. You started this war. You sent Grath to murder their people. You created the enemy that will haunt this galaxy for eternity. And now you will accept their terms, or you will lead us all to death. Voss stared at her. You dare speak to me like that? I am the High Arbiter. Dren moved faster than anyone expected. Two of his guards grabbed Voss and pulled him from his throne. The council gasped. You were the High Arbiter, Dren said. You are removed from power. The military council assumes control, and the first order of business is accepting humanity's terms. Voss screamed and fought, but it was useless. He was dragged from the chamber. He would never be seen again. 3 days later, the Treaty of Soul was signed. Every surviving species of the Dominion agreed to humanity's terms. Human space was recognized as sovereign territory. A neutral zone was created around it 50 light-years wide. Everyone knew the truth. It was not really neutral. It was a warning. Cross this line and face the monsters who live beyond. Ambassador Lyra traveled to Earth as part of the peace delegation. She had wanted to see the human homeworld for years. Now, walking through its cities, she understood why they fought so hard for it. Earth was beautiful. Oceans and mountains and forests. Cities that reached toward the sky. And everywhere humans. Millions of them. Living, laughing, loving. She met Dr. Hannah Choi in a garden. The scientist who had created the weapon that could have ended everything sat on a bench, watching children play. You could have killed us all, Lyra said, sitting beside her. Why did you show mercy? Hannah thought about the question for a long time. When I was young, my grandmother told me a story. She said that true strength is not about what you can destroy. It is about what you choose to protect. A beautiful thought, but not very practical in war. No, Hannah agreed. But war is not forever. Eventually, it ends. And when it does, you have to live with what you became. She looked at Lyra with sad eyes. We became monsters in this war. We did terrible things. I helped create terrible weapons. If we had used Ragnarok, we would have won. But we would have lost ourselves forever. Lyra nodded slowly. Other species fear death. You fear losing what you love. That is what makes you so dangerous. That is why you will always win. You do not fight for survival. You fight for each other. Years passed. The war became history. Children were born who had never known conflict. The galaxy slowly, carefully returned to normal. But things were different now. Trade routes curved around human space. They added months to journeys just to avoid crossing the border. Diplomatic ships approached with extreme caution, announcing themselves from light years away. Young aliens grew up hearing stories about the species that broke the Dominion. The species that taught the galaxy what fear meant. Commander Taiho Kim was old now. His hair was white. His hands shook slightly, but his eyes were still sharp, still dangerous. He walked through the memorial on New Bizon. It had grown over the years. New names had been added. Soldiers who died in the war. Heroes who gave everything for victory. He stopped at one name. Lieutenant Jusu Kang. She had died in the final months of the war. Her fighter had been damaged in battle. She could have ejected. She could have survived. Instead, she had flown her burning ship directly into the engine core of a Dominion dreadnought. The explosion destroyed the enemy vessel and saved a convoy of civilian ships. Her last words were broadcast across all human frequencies. For New Bizon, Taiho touched her name on the memorial. He remembered the young pilot who had become a legend, who had lost herself in revenge, then found her humanity again in the final moment. A young officer approached him. She wore the uniform of the new Earth Defense Force, eager, hopeful, untouched by the horrors of war. "Commander Kim, I'm sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to say you are a hero. Everything you did in the war. It is why we are free today." Taiho looked at her for a long moment. "Do you know what the war taught us? That we are strong? That we cannot be defeated?" "No," Taiho shook his head. "It taught us what we are capable of. The good and the terrible. Our job now is to make sure the galaxy only remembers the terrible so we never have to prove it again." The officer did not fully understand. She was too young. She had not seen the things he had seen, done the things he had done. But maybe that was good. Maybe that was the whole point. They had fought so that the next generation would never have to. Somewhere in the distant reaches of space, a Dominion trade ship made a terrible mistake. Its navigation computer malfunctioned, and the ship drifted into human space. The captain realized the error immediately. Terror flooded through him. He had heard the stories. Everyone had heard the stories. He broadcast on all frequencies, voice shaking. "Human Patrol, this is Dominion vessel Gentle Dawn. We are here by accident. Navigation failure. We mean no harm. Please, we mean no harm." Silence. Long, terrible silence. Then a human voice responded. Calm, cold, just like the story said. "Dominion vessel Gentle Dawn, you have entered human space without authorization." The captain thought he was going to die. He thought his crew was going to die. He thought about his family at home, waiting for him to return. "Follow these coordinates," the human voice continued. "They will guide you safely out of our territory. Do not deviate from the path. Do not stop. Do not scan anything." The captain almost wept with relief. Yes, we will follow exactly. Thank you. Thank you." He guided his ship along the path. His crew sat in terrified silence. They passed through human space without seeing anything. No ships, no stations, nothing but empty darkness. Hours later, they crossed back into Dominion territory. Safe. The captain's first officer looked at him with shaking hands. "They let us go. The humans let us go. I thought they would. They showed us mercy," the captain said quietly. "Just like the stories. They could have destroyed us. They chose not to. Why?" The first officer whispered. "Why would they do that?" The captain looked back at the darkness behind them. Human space. The realm of the monsters who had humbled the greatest empire in galactic history. "Because they want us to remember," he said finally. "They want us to remember that they showed mercy. And they want us to fear what happens if they ever choose not to." The first officer shuddered. "So the stories are true?" "Yes," the captain said. "Every single one. And that is why no species enters human space. Not anymore. Not ever again." He turned his ship toward home. Behind him, the darkness of human space seemed to watch him leave. Somewhere in that darkness, human patrol ships returned to their stations. They logged the encounter. They filed their reports. Just another day protecting the borders. Just another day reminding the galaxy that humanity was still there. Still watching. Still waiting. The war was over. The killing had stopped. But the fear? The fear lasted forever. And that was exactly how humanity wanted it.